got checks across the board. Man, it's been a minute. I almost got into that phase of, well, it was a good run.
Come back in 6-8 months.
I see y'all next year.
Yeah.
But let me get a sip of this water. I think I had another dream I was possibly battling somebody again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what it was, though.
If it was Uno Lava, you won.
I actually had a dream somebody hit me on the spot to preach.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, man, like, come on, guys. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you may find yourself as you listen to this and you tuned into the Only Sports Podcast with Brains and Bars. It is a black and white thing featuring A1 and A Ward. You can check out every episode of It's a Black and White Thing by going to the podcast app of your choice, wherever you find the good podcasts, searching for It's a Black and White Thing. Please like, share, subscribe, give us 5 stars, give us reviews. The more you review and share, it gets us promoted on podcast pages. You can also check us out on YouTube, where we are live right now, searching for Brains and Bars, and liking, sharing, and subscribing to the content. Leave comments there as well. You can also find us on social media by going to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Brains and Bars. You can find us there as well. It's been a minute. We've been kind of out. Well, I can't speak for Ward on this one. I have been incredibly busy. He's always busy. But for myself, I've been incredibly busy. There's been birthday parties and graduations and vow renewals and just everything, you name it, it's been going on in my life. And so,
your anniversary too, right? Was your anniversary?
Anniversary was last week.
Mm-hmm.
Graduated the week before that.
Mm-hmm.
Good friends of ours had a vow renewal the week before that.
Nice.
During this weekend, the kid was invited to 3 birthday parties. So like we just been on the go. And so,
you tell you stop making friends. Stop making friends.
Man, like for the first time, like quick parenting thing. So, for those who do not know, we have one child. It's a long story as to why we only have one. I won't bore you with that today. That's for another time. But we only have one, so we take it very seriously who he hangs out with. He's always been like, if he's not with us, it's always been with family. And so for the first time, he's been alive for 10 years. For the first time, godparents are still family, even though they're not blood. So, but for the first time, he was in the company of someone that was not related to us or like family. So we went to a birthday party. We had to leave because we had dinner reservations for our anniversary. And he's like, I don't want to leave. I don't want to go. Right. The kid thing. And so one of the parents of a kid that he's cool with is like, well, we can take him and, we'll you could come get him after dinner. And I'm like, so I didn't know I wasn't a part of the conversation. I came in on the back end of it. He was talking to my wife. And I see her with her phone out, and she's like, jotting. I could see her like typing. I'm like, yo, is she kidding? Like, what's happening? So I walk over there, and he's like, yeah, it's gonna be fine. We'll stay for a little bit longer, go home, watch a movie, da 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 da. And I'm like, all right, we're doing this. It's happening. So first time the kid has been, with someone who wasn't family. It went well. Great family, great people. So we appreciate them, stepping in on impromptu like that.
Nice.
Here's the last thing I say about this, right? So we go to the house and we say, was he, you always ask the question, like, how did it go, right? Oh, yeah. He's a model child. He made a mess. And I turned around and he was already cleaning it up. And I was like,
he don't do this at home?
Yeah, wait. He made a mess and he went and cleaned it. Huh? Like, is Invasion of the Body Snatchers? Like, what's happening right now? Like,
who taught you that?
Yeah, who taught? I mean, I guess one of those things. Like, it's cool to know that when your child goes somewhere, that they have some home training, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Like,
that's a good feeling.
But I want you to practice that.
Yeah.
In the home, though, like not somebody else's house, at our house. Anyway, So that's my parenting chronicles, man. What's been going on with you? How you been?
Man, I've been good, bro. As you know, 2 battles in the last 2 weeks, another battle this week. So 3 battles in 3 weeks. Outside of that, house is almost finished renovation wise. Man, we're just working and we're just staying busy. Going to Vegas together in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So that'll be fun. And then another battle with Loso at the end of the June. So I got a pretty good schedule going on for the May, June, and then just starting to get some bookings for July. So staying busy. And yeah, everything else is going pretty good, man. Can't complain.
That's what's up. Also, we're going to let's talk about this real quick. You posted a picture yesterday of yourself on the set of Speak for Yourself.
Yep.
It's called Speak now, right? It's not even called Speak for Yourself.
Yep. Once Marcellus left, they just changed it to Speak. So obviously I was invited to go out there from Emmanuel Acho. We got together, did some creative consultations and different things like that to get ready for the show. Just brainstorm some stuff. And then I was able to go to the show, which was a lot of fun. Got to see kind of just like how everything works. Got to see the whole Fox studio land, walking through the campus and you're in a movie, basically. They build New York City, they build LA, they got where they shoot all the scenes for all the movies and different things like that. The Simpsons, all that kind of stuff, which was super cool. Got to see the NFL Live set, which is like a 3D set. It's incredible. Not NFL Live, but NFL on Fox. I guess NFL Live's on ESPN. NFL on Fox is the show with JB, Terry, Howie, all them. So that was really cool. Got to meet LaShawn McCoy, Joy Taylor, Rick Bucher, which I wasn't too familiar with Rick before. But really, really nice guy. And yeah, just to kind of see how those shows are produced. Some things I thought this was a way bigger, production, and some things I thought like, man, this is really dope that you have this many people that you're helping you do this, So, but it was really cool. It was really cool. Had a good time, and look forward to go back. So
that's what's up. Shout out to everybody on that platform. Yeah. It's one of those things where when you hit me up, you was like, yeah, I got a battle out there. He was like, you want to roll? He's like, I'm supposed to be hanging out with Acho. And I was like, I would love to. I would love to go and be a part of that and experience that. However, unless Acho's ready to have a house guest for a little bit, it might be a good idea for me to stay in Kansas City and not take a trip on my anniversary. Now, granted, 17 years, right? 17 years. And, so you might hear me say 17 years and go, A1, what's the big deal? Like, you're 17 years in the game. Like your marriage is almost old enough to vote. And
and that marriage would vote that you stay at home.
And there you go. You know what I'm saying? Like these are big deals in our house, And so yeah, we kicked it like all weekend, had a good time, had a bunch of good things. So yeah, I'm glad you got to experience that. Glad you got to be on the set. Someday I'll be able to be on the set.
Yeah. One day we'll go back out there, man, for real.
Yo, NFL Live though. No disrespect to Acho and everything that you have built on Speak. If y'all want to invite your boy out to Bristol so I can experience that campus, I'm not going to turn it down. I'm not going to say no.
Yeah. That would be fun. That would definitely be fun.
But all right, man, let's get into it. Let's get into the show. We got a lot of things since we've been off. I want to play a little bit of catch up on, won't spend too much time on, and we'll get to the current events. So let's kind of get the battle rap part out of the way.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start here, right? URL announces Nome Impact. They have combined their double impact brand along with Nome, which is one of their signature brands that they put on every year. All 2-on-2 matchups. They've announced, I believe, 3 matchups thus far. But before we get into those matchups, let's just talk about the idea. Because I think there's been some people who had some pushback about the idea of Nome Impact, about combining those two. Now, for context, if you do not know, if somehow you are into battle rap and been under a rock, this is not the first time URL has done this. They've had Summer Impact, where they combined Double Impact and Summer Impact, right? About 3 or 4 years ago.
Yep.
And so now they're doing it with the Nome brand. So when you saw that they announced that, your initial thought was what?
Stop getting cute. That was my initial thought. Right now they're going through a lot with them. The idea that caffeine is kind of backpedaling out of kind of like how much of a co-partner they are with URL. Less events we've seen, more app battles. We've seen, fans, voice their frustrations and things. So my initial thought was like, yo, in a time where this year is a very critical year as to like what you're going to do in the future, like stick with your guns, throw out Nome, throw out Summer Madness, throw out Double Impact, finish the year strong, throw out a volume, remind the world why you are URL, because we tune into those events and those are some of the biggest events in the culture, And so just kind of throwing together this Nome Impact card, I'm like, wow, I felt like they're just grasping for straws. Like that's just kind of how I felt. Like, hey, what can we do? Whether it be a budget thing or or not, because 2-on-2 battles rarely ever hurt anybody's legacy. I'm assuming that the big name battlers charge less for the 2-on-2 battlers, 2-on-2 battles. So it just kind of, to me, from just a being in the know kind of battler thing, it just seemed like it's kind of like a budget move and like a move to just kind of get some content. So. You're on mute. Is my dog going super crazy though? Is my dog going super crazy?
A little bit, not crazy, but a little bit.
I can go up there and shut the door or something like that.
Now is that Charlie or
no? That's Sadie. Sadie's in the kennel going. Yeah, I don't know what she's tripping on, which is weird.
So, I mean, I can't put my finger on what I don't like about this. I want Nome to be. It's not a main event. And with all due respect to URL, while I don't have any issues with any of the matchups they've announced, these are not night of main event matchups.
Exactly.
This is super fight. This is, I mean, to be honest, it reminds me of like COVID, right? When everything was shut down and URL, to their credit, right? I mean, they kept battle rap alive.
Yeah, of course.
During the COVID era. You know what I'm saying? And so it just seemed like when they had the 2-on-2s before, where you ended up with Av and Fonz versus Lou and Shine, right? We just kind of had like these teams just kind of like, it's like they reached into a bag and said, okay, Calico, Hollow, boom, right? And so it just has very much of just like a reach in a bag and put a team together, outside of Twerk and Nitty, right? And Av and Fonz, right? Who have been partners before. Well, I guess Twerk and Nitty's the first time, but but those two guys have talked about being a team, right? They talked about that like the beginning of the year. And so it just feels very grab baggage. Like, yeah, here you go.
Now that the matchups are announced, like that was my first impression, but now that the matchups are announced, it makes me feel like they just thought that they could sell this whole card with Twerk, Nitty, Geechee, Rock, and then they just put the rest of it together. Like who's available? Who can do this? All right, who do you want to be? And I mean, we do want to see Twerk and Nitty and Geechee Rock. Don't get it twisted. That's a highly anticipated 2-on-2 match. I would love to see. But yeah, the rest of the card, like you said, is like main events. Like, no offense to like O-Red or Jerry West. A couple of these other guys. It's kind of like you're on here. It makes it seem like you're on here because somebody else wouldn't do it, and that's just, I mean, I'm a big old Red fan, but it's like an activity thing, a buzz thing. Like when you're like looking at the culture of battle rap and where it's at right now, it's like, really, and then like the Danny and Miss Hustle, they're both EFB, which kind of makes sense or whatever, but it's just kind of just like you said, none of the other teams have ever been teams before. And so it's kind of like, oh, what is this,
Now, I would have, now granted, I know this takes a lot, like this would require kind of like a production team, the side, like kind of what you talked about with Speak. I would love to see if they could somehow get the content of these teams and going through their process, right? Almost like reality TV style. To me, if you could do that, then I'm more interested, right? Because now I'm going to buy in more to it if I can see a little bit of behind the scenes of, hey, some of these people, I mean, most of these people do not live in the same place, right? So you're trying to, over the phone, maybe on Zoom, FaceTime, whatever you do, right, to try to work through these bars and get to a place of cohesion. And so I am interested because I am interested with some of the pairings of the groups, but like I forgot they even some of these matchups. I guess they announced today, but real quick, we'll go through them. You already talked about Geechee Gotti, Tay Rock versus Nitty and Twerk, and to me, it makes me sad that all that battle is a reminder to me that Surf is locked up because that should be gun titles versus Nitty. And so while I am excited, it's a little bit of a damper for me because free to wave, man. Like I want Surf to be home. I want versus those two, like I want gun titles versus one of the most explosive battle rappers in Twerk, and then the Punchline King, and Nitty. So you got John the Don, DNA versus man, forgive me if I mess this up, Saflair, Soul, and Foots. I think once a time, I think I went Gucci Man LaFlair one time. I called him LaFlair. So but Saflair, Soul, and Foots, who I still have not had the opportunity to watch any of their battles, but I've heard nothing but good things from both of them. Saflair, who I think he got to battle Chess and Nitty already, correct? Right. Foots had a good battle. People talked about that Foots Jerry West battle as one of the battles of the year, a battle of the year contender. And so he's had some really good performances. So I am very interested. And honestly, to me, that's a battle where, from a wrestling standpoint, right? Like they're acting, DNA and John are acting as gatekeepers to help further solidify Foots and Soul, in my opinion.
Well, that battle actually kind of makes sense, believe it or not. Like, that battle, because of the PG killer thing, you know what I mean? And so, like that it's got that theme to it, John and DNA, and how John just, eviscerated Jack Boy, and how DNA normally does when it comes to the
PG killer.
PGs. Yeah, so that I'm not mad at that, I'm not mad at that on night of main events and at the bottom, and then I'm not mad at Twerk, Nitty, Geechee, Rum at the top. It's just the other 3 or 4 that they're gonna have in between right now. Kind of, to me, it's like, yeah.
So Hustle and Danny versus West, Jerry West and Lou Castro.
Don't get it. I mean, Lou hasn't really been like on any kind of like streak or anything like that with URL right now. Jerry West just had a good battle, I'm hearing, but just don't get it. And then Danny and Hustle is EFB. I mean, I'm eager to kind of see how the intergender, Danny and Hustle work together. But yeah, I just don't understand the matchup. It's not anything that I would call a main event or say like, I can't wait to see this. But those are the kind of battles sometimes that surprise you. So
true. So as an aside, I feel like Smack Volume, I think it's 3. I don't think it's 4. It might have been. It's either 3 or 4. A lot of people, the consensus from fans were why these matchups? Why? And I think in the eyes of a lot of people, I think it's 3 that ended up being like one of the best volumes of the series. So I mean, again, right? Sometimes random does not need necessarily equal bad. So Avon Fonz, T-Top, and Swamp.
To me, that should just be I think that should be lopsided. Avon Fonz are really, really good. That's a tag team. I mean, when I saw them, I'm like, okay, cool. Like I thought maybe they were battling Nitty and Twerk. It's a very, very good tag team. And I don't know stylistically. Now Geechee and Swamp were pretty decent, right? When they battled Rock and so was it Rockin'
Easy? I think it was Rockin' Easy.
Yeah, so they were pretty decent. Yeah, that's an interesting matchup, but I mean, yeah, I think that most people are just kind of like, yo, this is Av and Fonz is the lose.
Yeah, shout out to Fat Boy from New Era Podcast. He said they were gonna punch the raccoons
hilarious
out of them. So we'll see. I think Av and I think Swamp and T-Top have the charisma to take the sting out of some of those punches, though. I think they can use with some good some timely humor. I think some good drug tellings. I think they'll be able to take, like I said, to navigate what Av and Font that seems like an uphill battle, though. I do agree. And I think
But I mean, I'll say this much. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it should be on a big stage, right? Big crowd, shouldn't it be? So,
yeah.
when we saw Av and Fonz, that was a small room setting.
Yeah, but I'm just
They got crazy, but yeah, I mean, T-Top and Swamp might be a little bit better on the big stage. I don't know. I think it's pretty lopsided though.
Av has not had a lot. He has not been very active, right? I mean, he has, to me, one of the performances of the year versus Clone. 3 really, really good rounds. And if he brings some of them punches to a big stage,
yeah, it could get dark.
Yeah, it can get nasty. I think those are all the matches, right? We talked about all the rest of them. So yeah, man, y'all let us know what y'all think about that. About
Hollow Cow, Shotgun, Sugar, O-Red. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm interested in Hollow and Cal.
Chemistry wise. I want to see
stylistically, like I mean Kyle and Murder Mook, it wasn't that wasn't a great group. I just feel like I don't know if Kyle is a 2-on-2 battler.
Yeah.
I think Kyle might be better suited for just big stage, one-on-one matchups. That's just, we'll see, right? I think he has an opportunity to prove me wrong, but I just don't know if if that's his bag, personally.
Yeah.
So
I agree. So yeah.
Y'all let us know what y'all think about that, man. You got anything else you want to say about this before we move on?
Yeah, outside of that, 3-0 Battle League, Street Hymns Battle League, Dallas Fort Worth this weekend, Church in the Wild event. So you'll find the 4 horsemen and my guy, Matt Cobbins. It'll be 5 battles. So all 4 of us and Matt Cobbins will be taking on Dallas's local elite talent in a card for Street Hymns' birthday. It's his birthday weekend. So, we'll be down there. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, everything. I'll be posting flyers, QR codes, and pay-per-view video on-demand links, all that good stuff. Support it. I definitely want to have a good time. And all of them are 3-round battles, so that's good too. So none of them are rounders. It should be fun.
Dope. Yep. So make sure you guys support that.